Coming down to the
We have it!
Biggles is going to get it.
They haven't got it!
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly, Miller's still start dropping. He's not second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's gonna do it! Big Barry!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to ESR, the Evolution Sim Racing. It's Season 3, and we are here at Suzuka for what should be a fantastic evening of racing. It's going to be a 1-hour sunset race around one of the most classic of racetracks. We've been to Watkins Glen, we've been to Le Mans, Sebring, Spa, and Gilles Villeneuve, and this is round 6 of the 9-round season. My name is Darragh Thacker. Joining me this evening will be Dean Biggles, pressing all the buttons, making sure that we get to cover all of the action that we can. And Dean, Suzuka, it's a classic track, and a 1-hour sunset race might get a little bit spicy.
It should. Welcome everybody as well. You know, in the land of Japan, of course, where basically trains are barely delayed about 12 seconds, something like that. And you almost got more vending machines than anybody else. But of course, Suzuka, the test track, used to be a motorcycle track as well too. Speaking of which, we have to get through this, but we have standings, of course, for the premiere.
We do have standings, and leading that standing is Yannis Albert. He has been very, very dominant so far this season. You can see 3 wins, and 3 second places in 7 races so far, with the one exception being race 2 at Sebring. Luke Lucchese is doing his utmost to try and keep up, but still 120 points back. Ewan Stitchbury in third with Christophe Demay, Thomas Pugh and Henry Nackery in the top 6. Tristan Dino Brager, a strong showing with the win in Watkins Glen last time out with Paul Cowlishaw, Matt Hoyland, John Breitenbach, Joe Sparrow and Marcel Breitenbach in the top 12. We will chuck ourselves across to the Evo standings very quickly, and over there it's Joe Glass who leads the way by quite a comfortable 70 points ahead of James Rankin and Robin Ashton. Matthew Jones, Gary Mitchell in that wonderful caramel car, and Javier Talavera are in the top 6. James Bostock, Dennis Collar, Nathan Crook, Stephen Donnelly, Rob McKee and Matt Barnett round out the top 12 in the Evo standings. But looking at the team standings, we've got GlassTech on top by quite a nice, comfortable margin. Joe Glass and Matthew Jones doing very nicely in the Evo class and do lead the way ahead of Yannis Albert and Piers Berry for Le Penny Racing. Tristan Brager and Luke Lucchese, the RDSA Esports drivers, are in third with Aura and CHR in 4th and 5th. The likes of DXT and Petek GP2 are hoping to get themselves into that top 5, but they've got a little bit of work to do. And then finally, we have got the incident rating standings, or you could say the cleanest drivers on the grid. And in the Premier class, it's Thomas Pugh, John Breitenbach, Janice Albert, Joe Sparrow and Ewan Stitchbury who were up for getting those £15 or $15, I should say, iRacing vouchers, with James Rankin, Joe Glass, Matthew Jones, Rob McKee and Robin Aston on course to pick them up in the Evo class. Of course, anything can happen, but we've got through qualifying here, Dean, haven't we, at Suzuka, and it's a front row for the 2 RDSA Motorsport cars with Luke Lucchese and Tristan Dino Brager in first and second.
Yeah, we should be able to pull up that grid in a little bit as we're going to get on with the, of course, Season 3 here for our live broadcasts. So this one's not a race 1, race 2, of course. We said it's an hour race, so you got your fixed setups, of course. You'll have your pit stops that are required. There's all your cars, of course, McLarens, the Fords, the BMWs, and so forth, so forth. Although nobody is using the Ford, believe it or not, at all. As we've seen all season long, they can't change those cars. You're stuck with it. Interesting, as you said, going back to that standings of the Pro as well, too, how the South African duo need a bit of work too, but not too far back. And, of course, Joe Glass and the GlassTech Racing League are performing very, very well on our Figure 8 track, as you can see right there. You don't even notice it, do you, really, when you're going over the track, that you're actually going over the other part behind you, because that's just all set up that way. But you do know when you're underneath it, because it's one of the Degners, and that's where it does cause a lot of problems with drivers. They're on a practice session currently at the moment there, Darragh. And welcome everybody in the chat. I'm waiting for our usual suspects out there for the DXT team boss. I should be doing some spotting for him. Waiting for him to come out there and chat. Anybody else come out and say hello? Hello.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best example we had last calendar year, that of course is a figure of 8 track, is I think it was in Super Formula. There was a car that went over the barriers on the exit 130R and tumbled down towards Degner 1. So,
wow.
Yeah, it is there, but, you know, we do have some occurrences where there are some big crashes. But before we get into the race, we've got to take a quick look at the grid. And like I said, it is Luke Tracy and Tristan Dennebrega on the front row. Very nicely done by the two of them. And I'm sure they'll work together to keep Yannis Albert behind, but he is close behind in P3. Those top three, though, far and away ahead of the rest of the pack. Half a second then back from Albert to Ryan Ottens in P4. Paul Colashaw in 5th with John Brayton back in 6th. Joe Newman returning after a few weeks out will be in P7 with Piers Berry, Yannis Albert's teammate, in P8. Ewan Stitchbury, Christophe Demay, Nathan Crookley in the Evo class, and Henry Nackery round out the top 12 on the grid. We'll then look back to the next drivers as we see some of the guys on the grid. Yes, there we go. Thomas Pugh 13th, Joe Glass, championship leader in the Evo category, in 14th with Alex Fretwell and Javier Talavera 15th and 16th. Jamie Reeves, Matt Hoyland, James Rankin and Robin Aston in the top 20 with Stephen Donnelly, Matthew Jones, debutant Jack Wyborn in 23rd and Alex Koenrath in 24th. Then we look back to Scott Kostrick in 25th, Paul Robson in 26th, and you've got the boss man James Bostock in 27th, Daniel Nans, Gary Mitchell and Jamal Gandor in the top 30, Chris Keenan, Rob McKee, James Pallow, Gareth Newton, John Ludbrook, Russell Jakes round out the top 36. And I think we've only got a couple more. Yeah, we've got Graham Matthew, Danny Weir, Joe Spara and Hussein Saraka Dessler in the top 40. I think we're a few short tonight, but either way, 40 drivers around Suzuka could get a little bit busy, and we are about to get underway here, Dean.
You are correct, exactly. I thought Joe might have actually not even got a qualifying lap in, but we're going to get a race in at the moment for a full 1 hour here at Suzuka in a sunset race. I think just like the other day, my friend, we shouldn't go to full night time, so we should be able to see the lovely liveries that they have on there. Wow, that's South Africans, 1, 2, and 4. And you got Yannis in there, who's leading the championship, squeezed in there. Are they going to try to defend the best there to keep Yannis at bay? Well, we'll find out. Over to you.
Yeah, and we are going to get racing here at Suzuka. It's a good enough start from Luke Tracy. He looks like he'll control the line down into turn 1. It's a difficult, tricky turn 1, isn't it? We might see a few little instants here as I think Ryan Ottens is trying to go around. Oh, and Yannis
there it is.
Albert, exactly. Immediately it happens. And we see Yannis Albert spinning around. He's going to go right to the back. The championship leader. How big could that be? He has about a 130-point lead. It's 100 points for the win. Luke Tracy is winning the race. He's P2 in the championship. That could be massive already here.
Absolutely huge, as you'd mentioned there, because that was a tag, and that's going to put him right at the back of the field almost, as you saw in your pictures. We've got a nice and wide angle. That's got a big smile on the face, of course, for the RDSA esports racing team, and change things around a little bit. But the good thing, the only positive thing you should be able to take out of that one is that you've got an hour to make your way up through it. And I've seen these drivers before, so I'll say way through the field there. Now you're going to be aiming for a top 10 at best, but top 10 is top 10.
His top 10, of course. Points go down to top 20 in class, but you really want to be scoring the maximum points you can. But yeah, the two RDSA drivers getting away at the front. Paul Colashaw just avoiding the incidents and promoting himself up to P3, so he will be pleased about how that started. It's nice from the Red Sea parts in front of you, and that is exactly what Paul saw on his way through turn 1 and turn 2. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of an interesting one. I think this was just before
this is Robin
the start.
Just at the start.
Yeah.
He had to pull off the track there for some reason. Maybe had a little bit of a technical issue. But more so, the green flag is when we wanted to see what happened there with Yannis. That's the key, isn't it? Because that's the man leading the championship. Let's have a look at the race start. He can talk us through this one.
Yannis comes down. Oh, I think, yeah, Ryan tries to send it around the outside, but Yannis... There's not much in that, really, is there? I mean,
no.
There's not too much contact. It's not that Ryan's turned in. If anything, it's that maybe a bit of a drift out wide from Yannis. Maybe not expecting Ryan to be there. I mean, yeah, a bit unfortunate from the two of them into turn 1. Like I said, just as we become a young turn 1, it can happen. It's a tricky turn 1 to get right, especially when you're racing 2, maybe even 3 cars down there. But either way, they've come together. Everyone else has seemed to get through, and you can see at the bottom there, Yannis Albert down 30, but up
Matthew
to 30
Jones!
down.
Big into the fence off the main straight as well, too. So it's just cutting over there. Because there's going to be an overtake. They've definitely come together. They have definitely come together. I was quite wondering why. Obviously, fantastic world of replays that we're going to have. Not that the drivers really want to see that, but let's go. Well, that was actually a little bit before, wasn't it? What happened there? Let's see. There's contact. And that's a lot of turning, isn't it? I'm going to have to rewind this one. I do apologize. I don't like rewinding too much. But I'm just wondering, yeah, there it is. And that's what do you think about this one? That's turning on a main straight. There's plenty of track there, look. Do you think there's beef between these drivers? I don't know.
I mean, it's possible that Matthew got ahead and then tried to pull the line back across a little bit, just to try and, you know, in the way that he can try and dictate the line. But I mean, it's difficult there. I mean, again, I don't think they're going to be on each other's Christmas card list. I know it's only February, but yeah, I can't I can't see them being too pleased with each other. And Matthew Jones, Glass Tech Racing, of course, championship leaders in the team's championship. They have got, he's got a lot of work to do if he can recover that car to any kind of position. But we'll look now at Nathan Crook in P9, currently leader of the Evo class, but to go to last in the other Glass Tech Racing car, just in behind him, and I'm sure he'll be going for a move if he can make it as they run their way down towards 130R for the second time. Of course, with a pit stop in this race around 2 minutes a lap, we're looking at roughly 30 to 31 laps in this race, so lots of opportunities down towards turn 1, down towards the Casio triangle for these guys to try and make the move stick. So you can kind of bide your time, wait around, but gaps in trains starting to form. You look at Paul Colisher off the back of Tristan Darragh and Javier Talavera off the back of Jamie Rees. The guys in behind are going to want to get a move on quickly, won't they?
Well, yes, exactly. Before the field starts spreading out, especially if you like to Paul and P3 there, and Jean Brandenbach at the moment. As Aiden said out there, yes, for Yanis for sure. I won't repeat that, but that's exactly what. He's all the way down currently at the moment. It's just a little bit of a switcheroo. He's actually gone to pit road. So he's taken that opportunity to elect to pick early. Probably not a bad idea. Alternative strategy. Go deeper this race and see what you can make back place. Here's Gary Mitchell at the moment. Looks like James Bostock, the boss man, gets the overtake done there and slides his way up into... Oh, no. I'm seeing contact. And that's Scott, I think. Scott's gone off. There he is. There's Scotty. Oh dear, we saw that I think just in the background.
Yeah, it's quite a busy livery there, isn't it?
Oh, there it is.
Scott.
See,
oh,
there.
Yeah, just losing the rear end. Yeah, there wasn't really anything that whoever that was behind could really do there. Just the car pretty much stopped on the racing line, and up the S's were pretty much tied with the line that you're taking. But either way, Luke Tracy, Tristan Darragh still leading the way. Paul Colishaw's kind of bridged that gap a little bit, hasn't he? It's come down to 7 tenths, up from 1.4, oh sorry, down from 1.4 seconds as we run our way through Spoon once again. But yeah, with a 1 hour sunset race, there isn't any worry or any consideration about whether some drivers are going to have to think about the reverse point, because there is no reverse point. So all that goes out of the window. It's now an out race, so you can take a little bit longer for the moves, but at the same time, you just got to be careful. You've got to be more considered as you run your way through. But we will, I'm very much sure, see how this all develops as we now look at Ewan Stitchbury defending a little bit from Piers Berry as they come towards the Casio triangle. Christophe Demay is sniffing around as well as they run their way now down through the final corner towards the line, and Piers Berry looks very, very keen. Oh, there we go. to get through on Ewan Stitchbury, who disappeared for a second there, but reappeared right in front of the La Penny Racing driver. Down into turn 1, they will come around the outside. Piers is going to have to go, and it's going to be difficult to make the move there, and in the end, won't be able to make it stick at all, and there'll be another lap where he's going to have to try and pick his way through at some point.
Oh, but he can't do it through the S's at the moment, my dear friend, as you can see the perfect panorama angle there. I saw that blinking for a second, and I was scared. I was crossing fingers going out. Hopefully, we have definitely solved that problem. It took us quite a bit there because it happened, obviously, unfortunately, last week with James, and it's happened before in the past. But a smaller grid here this evening, but everything so far is good. Touch wood. And I think we should be good for the rest of it. That blinking would be individual drivers. But as you can see currently at the moment, Stitchbury is the one that's holding up this chain of cars, and that's actually building a bit of a gap there. 2.6, of course, down the road he is from Joe Newman, who's putting a bit of pressure there in the battle for P4.
Very much
Up
putting
the
some pressure.
inside send!
Up the inside. It's a good send actually from Christophe Demay up into the hairpin, but does he have it on the exit? It's good traction from Piers Berry, and I think he'll just about keep it as they run their way all the way through this right-hander up towards Spoon. And yeah, I think it's going to be pretty easy for Piers Berry to keep that one. Indeed he does. It was a good attempt from Christophe Demay. Caught Piers a little bit napping, maybe looking up the inside again at Spoon.
Going for it again, and
in fact,
has.
Piers Berry's going to go wide, and he will find his way through. He kind of scared him off the racing line a little bit, and in the end, Piers Berry has had to concede the position, and Nathan Crook might be looking for a move now.
That's psychological games at its best, isn't it? Psychological, that's what I always say. This is motor racing in a way where it's not just who's the quickest on the track at the time. It's how you play that strategy, how you try to throw your opponent off, how you make them look in their mirrors and you take a little alternative line. and then wait for them to make a mistake, pounce on it, and get the job done. It's not the easiest to overtake around here, as you just demonstrated, but it's great. And now the teammates can block here. The teammates can block. As you can see, a little bit of frustration may be creeping in from Pierce, because although they are a bit of a thank you, let's see how this pans out. Yep, they are blocking. Look, they're blocking. They're not allowing anywhere around there. That's perfectly legal. It is perfectly legal for the teammates to do that. But so frustrating, because that means that at the moment Pierce is going to have to send it.
Up through the S's. It's going to be the outside, then the inside, then the outside again for Piers-Berry, but I think he might just about have this one as they run their way through up towards Dunlop now. Ewan Stitchbury, though, it's got a much better line around into Dunlop. He's going to have the inside. Does he have it down in towards the Degners? Let's see as they emerge all the way through this left hand, and he just about has held on to P8 there, but, I mean, P7, I should say, but Piers-Berry gave it a very, very good go on their run up the hill. But here he comes. He's going to have the outside line down into the hairpin, unless he does a little bit of a dummy, tries to find the inside line.
That's a late send and heavy
braking.
braking.
Be careful. I think it's a bit of a tap on the rear end there of Ewan Stitchbury. It's around the outside. Is that Thomas Pugh going around? I think it is. Going around nearly trying to find Nathan Crook's position of P9. But yeah, very close fighting. This is some very, very dramatic stuff. In all of this, I have noticed that Yannis Albert has pit very, very early. He's currently running down in P34, over a minute off of the lead, but he's trying to get out of traffic to get himself some clean air.
Who's off the track there?
Who is that?
That's Joe Newman. Joe Newman's gone off, and that's added a little bit more spice to this mix at the moment, if it wasn't spicy enough, because look at this battle that's brewing here behind those Ian and Ivan Stitchbury, of course, Piers. That's as those teammates are working at the moment together, and I can see something brewing up here for sure. We're already starting to see it. Look at this fantastic racing. It is just backing the pump up, the pack up, because Kristen DeMay now is still, it's about almost a 5-second gap to Brenda Buck in P4, who's still hovering on the back there at Paul. In fact, looking to make an overtake soon on Paul, but at the moment we'll focus on this one. There's been an incident as well. We'll get back and have a look at that one. Here we go up on the inside. Beers wants this one big time. He can't get it. Good defending from Stitchbury.
Yeah, he's not really got the race pace at the moment, does he, Ewan Stitchbury? It seems his teammate's gone up the road by over a second in just a lap, and yeah, Piers-Berry is really trying to find his way through. He's going to get very much sick of the rear end of that Mercedes car if he doesn't get through any time soon, but as they run up the hill once again, up towards Dunlop into the left-hander they go. It's just a bunch, isn't it, from 6th all the way down to P14 and Javier Talavera. They are right up close together. Lots of pitters in the background. Hoyland, Donnelly, Bostock, Mitchell, McKee and Keenan have all come in, but we'll have now a look at Joe Newman through Spoon, and it looks like he's going to lose it on his own. Will he in the second part?
This is when Joe lost it. I think he was up the road, and I don't think it caused any problems. He went off the track there, but we also had another incident with Chris Keenan. I think he's gone off. This is going to be another self-accident. I can't believe he'd be slamming the back of the car. He has! Oh, he's completely lost his braking point, I was going to say, for that far back, and that would be annoying, of course, Gary here. And that's Gary, the one that unfortunately was a victim of that one, because I'm sorry, Chris, that was way, way too far there. Just completely missed the braking zone, and I'm pretty sure he'd realize that's a my bad situation. That's definitely one. Yeah. And they've gone into pit road, I think, for some of those damages as well, too. But there's your duo up the front there. It looks like a bit of dust and somebody might have gone off the road there. They don't have any traffic up there. And more about this battle of code that's been brewing, but I might have to go back to Thomas because now Thomas Pugh is... Oh, actually, look at the background. More than that, anything. Joe Glass and Jamie. The outside. Reese around the outside into the Casio Triangle. Will get that one done, I believe. Yes, he will, quite nicely, as they run down towards the final corner. And Joe Glass has now got Javier Talavera to deal with right behind him. No, he doesn't. He's going to the pit lane. And that'll fix that problem. Now we'll look at Hussein Sarika Dessler. Oh, a little bit deep from Gareth Newton into the Casio Triangle. Will he be able to capitalise on it? Not really. It's a little bit difficult. Too far back. 9/10 is too far, but he's coming into the pit lane as well. And that'll allow the likes of James Paolo to come through and gain a few more positions. But we'll have to keep an eye on Yannis Albert, where everyone starts to file out around the German, because, of course, and Pierce
he was right back at the start, but he's got the pace, yeah. Oh,
Pierce has had a moment here after all this fighting. He's lost it. Oh, on the entry. And he's just off the racing line. He can't turn right. He's going to have to spin it around to his left. And then you have to back it up because the turning circle is not so great, is it, on these Lamborghinis? And that's going to be a little bit frustrating to him after all that work he was doing. After all that work he was doing to keep himself in that position. But once again, the only thing I'd say positively on the side is the fact you have 46 minutes and changes. We are seeing a lot of drivers that are going into pit road early. Matthew Jones. Some drivers are involved in an incident. Some drivers that weren't. But they're electing to get out of that traffic. They feel it may be holding them up. That was a lot of those drivers that were in that traffic chain that you saw before. So I think they just elected that. And it is quite clever because if you have watched the Netflix series of late about the NASCAR, you actually see some of the drivers actually had lifted off there because they just felt that there was an accident about to brew up the road there. And believe it or not, sometimes more often than everything, it has. And by lifting off, they elected not to be a part of that party. And sometimes those strategies are very clever.
Let's see how this will develop. I mean, like you said, we've still got a long way to go. 46 minutes in this race to go. Early pit stops are very much happening. And just seeing that Aiden Neat was in the chat before, saying that he thinks that Yanis is going to get a P5 here. Which it's possible. I mean, Yanis Albert.
Oh no, it's not going to be that possible because I'm just seeing something where he's crashed. Right on cue.
Oh, no.
I don't know if it's a full-on crash or just an off-the-track moment. It's because this is obviously the reason why it's pushing. No, he's hit somebody. I think. Oh god, his camera angles. Yeah, no,
Ooh.
Somebody's lost it. I think that might have been.
Joe Glass. I think that's Joe Glass.
I think that's Joe Glass has lost it, and then he's unfortunately been a victim to that one. Yeah, Joe Glass has already lost it here at this point. He's going slow. He's coming around, and this may very well be.
Angle for Yanis.
No, he's lost it. Yeah, he's got cold tires at that point. He's gone off the track. That is interesting to see what happened if Yanis. I have to try to get the right camera angles. It's a horrible camera angle, so I do apologize about that because these helicopter cameras are just covering half the stuff. Let's have a look at Yanis. I'll probably just right on board with him. Yeah, look, nowhere to go. Bang!
Yeah.
Oh, could his day get any worse?
Right about him saying that he was out. Let me just check the live timing, and yeah, he is not moving on. Yeah, Yanis Albert is out of this race.
I think
which
it's still
is a
too
disaster.
early. I still think it's too early. I know he'll have damage there, but I still think he's got time. I mean, 44 minutes for a super fast driver leading a championship like that is still enough time to get yourself crucial points. And I don't want that to come back and bite him at the end of the season, where he'd lose it by 5 or 6 points that he could have maybe made in this. But frustration just creeps into some drivers sometimes.
And you wouldn't really have expected it, especially coming into this race. I think, 130 points clear, something like that. Yeah, that could be completely cut down to 30 here, because Luke Tracy winning the race, if he picks up the full complement of 100 points, he's going to find himself under the cosh. Just from absolutely nowhere. Let's have a look. Yeah,
leaders are going in, and that's a generally, sorry about that, sorry to interrupt there, there's a general rule of thumb. These two always follow each other in a pit road. They always do. In fact, they're all coming in, but you see it every single time. They're in the same chat. You go in first, you go in second. More importantly, everybody's coming in, hitting your braking markers, gentlemen, because that's where you make mistakes. And luckily right there, you get a front row there. You don't have to worry about following through any cars. Up on the jacks there. Take some tires, take some gasoline. I say gas, but look at that. Everybody in pit road. I'm just wondering, first of our drivers that have already boxed early would be Alex Fretwell. It seems like an attorney, doesn't it? When you're sitting in the car waiting. You're like, come on, get out there. You want a Formula 1 pit stop, don't you, really? Like 5-something seconds and change, but oh, look at that. So this is gasoline. Look who's coming out first. Who was that?
Was it
I'm not showing any change in the leaderboard. Look at that, how quickly they are too with the teammates of getting that done.
a lapped car?
It's probably would have been a car as well too. So there is the man that elected to stay out. Alex, he's already made his pit stop. So Alex will come around. He'll actually pass a whole bunch of cars, but he won't get out ahead still of our South African duo who'll still be leading this one.
Yeah, and they're leading comfortably at the moment, 2.2 seconds. And I mean, with the threat of Yanis Albert pretty much neutralised now, yeah, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. It's disaster for Albert and Berry because they both are tied on the same lap. So the two Le Penny Racing drivers out of the race completely now. I mean, Joe Glass is still going around. He is. I think he was the car actually that came out because he is just in front of the two leaders on track, but all the way down, just about not a lap down in 35th position. But this gives a chance for quite a lot of these guys to really pick up positions here. I mean, the likes of Stephen Donnelly, Jack Wyborn on debut as well, picking up some good points early on in his campaign. Of course, 3 rounds to go after this one. You really need the points now. Give you a little bit of a momentum boost into the final 3 races. Of course, I mean, the last 3 races are at Mugello, Kota and Bathurst. 3 tracks that almost couldn't be more different if they tried.
There's a spin up the road as well, too, from one of the drivers.
Thomas Pugh. I think
it's
Thomas Pugh, isn't it?
Yep.
Yes, it is.
So that'll give Nathan, Joe, and Matt Oyland a free run, because Matty was putting a lot of pressure here on Nathan. Of course, they're in different classes. Nathan is in the, I'll show you, of course, in the Group Tower. He's leading it currently at the moment in the Evo class. And all the drivers have taken a pit stop, just to let everybody know. Everybody's taken a pit stop. So apart from a few drivers that are a lap down have taken 2 because of damage. But they've got that first round of pit stops done and dusted. So we'll see how they pan out for the rest of it. Look at Matty wanting to get past here. But Nathan is no shy. He doesn't have to allow him, even if you're in different classes. Remember, said this all season. Doesn't have to allow him through. And he's certainly not at this point. And that will frustrate Matt Hoyland, who has been so pacey, I think, since our Season 3 started. But Matt can get a little bit, and I'm going to say it out there, Matt, you can get a little bit too frustrated sometimes, creep in and make a little bit of little mistakes. And that's what Matty needs to overcome in order to become a much better race driver, as he has improved through the season. He's got to be cool, calm, and collective.
I mean, for Nathan Crook here, yes, he's in the Evo class, like you mentioned, he can still fight away. I mean, there is the Combined Drivers' Championship, so he's, still picking up points in that. I think you get digital plaques for the top 10 in that series, or it might be more than the top 10, but either way, you can still fight away for that. Because you are racing everybody around for that championship, but I'm sure he'll be more focused on the Evo. If Matt Hoyland puts a bit of a shake to the inside somewhere, like the Casio Triangle or at Turn 1, he might not fight it too hard, knowing that his closest challenger, Stephen Donnelly, is a good 6, 7, 8 seconds behind him at the moment. But as we run a third of the way through this race, 20 minutes just about have elapsed, and it is Luke Lucchese and Tristan de Nobrega 1 and 2 at the moment. Of course, Nobrega, reigning race winner, you could say, after winning race 2 at Watkins Glen last week. And Luke Lucchese as well, he had a very good performance in race 1 before he got damaged in race 2, which prevented him from really going for the win. So they are in a bit of a rich vein of form here, and it's going to be interesting to see if they can use this momentum that they've picked up at Watkins Glen to go into the final few rounds.
You're absolutely correct on that one. You can see the track map, so the leaders are going to be going underneath your figure 8 as they're about to get their way into the Casio Triangle, about to start another lap. Comfortable up the road there by 2-point-something seconds. Almost 3 seconds to change there from our P3 man. But more importantly, it's about Matty's a little bit of frustration creeping in here at the moment there of wanting to get past. Because remember, he's also battling out Joe Newman, who's on his tailpipe. So he's thinking about, as they do go through the Casio section and about to start another lap for these gentlemen before they get up to the S's, where you can't really do any overtaking through there. Not if you're bold and brave. You should not suggest to do that. And the sun will actually peek into some of these drivers' eyes. You're not going to be like Sunset, of course, on some of the tracks that we've been to in the past, isn't it? Sunset Bend as well, too, can be an absolute pain. Somebody runs wide in the background. I think that's just a lap car coming out of that battle.
Class, yeah.
But Thomas is in an adventure at the moment here in the background, and here he is. I don't say just suggesting it wisely to overtake through the S's there, but all about getting the good exit out of the S's into the Degners. I don't know.
I mean, it's gonna be difficult to make moves in this train, I think, between Alex Fretwell and Thomas Pugh, because of course, with everybody being so close, they're all going to be, thinking about if they go for the move, they know that they're going to come under pressure from the driver behind. The only person who isn't thinking about that is Thomas Pugh, who was going for the move there. So he might be the one that is given the most leash to try and make a move stick in an audacious place. And we'll have to see if he can try and pick his way through any part of this train ahead of the likes of Jamie Rees. But we're going to see a replay here of Rob McKee down into the opening couple of corners. Gets on the curb, rear end goes one time, he catches it, and then it goes around a second time, and that is not a nice place to be, but I think he recovered it nice enough, and he is carrying on now. So, yeah, this train is, I think, going to be something that we're going to be focusing on quite a lot through this race, and we've got a couple of trains. Ryan Ottens, actually, is someone else to look out for. Of course, he was in that collision with Yannis Hubert off of the line. We're not seeing how far up Yannis Hubert is going to get in this race, but Ryan Ottens, definitely someone to watch.
Matty's going to have to commit. He's basically... Oh, we didn't quite get around the outside there through the racing line there, because That means at the moment Nathan would have had a lift, and that's getting a few drivers in the background frustrated, including Joe. So Joe Newman takes a seizes the opportunity immediately from a little bit of a mistake there from Matt Hoyland. Matt's going to be very, very upset about that, wanting to take that one back. But that goes to show the frustration. They're going to go side by side down the main straightaway to start another lap here. And this is interesting. Who's going to get the fight back into turn 1 and turn 2? Because the S's are coming up, and we don't think there's going to be overtaken at the opportunities. No. Matty wisely backs off on that one, and there we go. So around 130, it's going to be very, very... You have to tuck in at this point. There's no real overtaking here unless somebody goes wide.
I mean, realistically, Suzuka's one of those tracks where you've got a couple of places to overtake, and if you try and go for elsewhere, it's near enough suicide. I mean, we've seen a couple of attempts. I mean, we had some great racing, didn't we, up the hill between you and Stitchbury and Piersbury, wasn't it, up the hill? But yeah, you're not going to see it very often because if nothing else, it's very easy just to accidentally come together with lines going up the hill. So yeah, you've got to get the move down into turn 1, and that wasn't what Matt Hoyland could do on Joe Newman, but he's now going to try and get through on Nathan Crook, I'm sure. Oh, not quite down into the hairpin, nearly running into the back of that green machine. Is staying behind for now, just biding his time, trying to find the way through, because after Nathan Crook, of course, he's got Alex Fretwell to get through, and he's really the head of the train at the moment.
And Nathan's doing an absolute solid job at the moment, isn't he? I mean, because he's racing outside of his class, but he's racing with the big guns, and he's doing a solid job. Because on top of that, what he knows is that Joe Glasscourt's leading the championship for the Evo class is a lap down. I'm not sure if Joe Glass is even in the race at the moment. I hope Joe is. But yeah, Joe, it looks like Joe is. But Joe is, as I said, a lap down, and that's not going to be very good for Joe to go through all that Evo class grid that you can see currently on your live timing screens. So, if you are the likes of Nathan at this point, I think, my friend, you've just got to take it easy there. If you feel that you're going to get into an incident with somebody, let them pass, because you still have a 1.5 second gap over your closest rival in your class.
Something that they're all going to be having to be thinking about, particularly at this stage of the race, not quite halfway through. I mean, at this point, they kind of know where they're fighting for in this race. Of course, with no... I mean, there might be another pit stop, possibly, but I think everyone is fine to the end. Of course, a lot of them taking fuel in their pit stop. So, yeah, I think everyone will be going to the end here. It will cost far too much time to pit once again. So you kind of know who you're going to be racing with towards the end of this race. I mean, with the exception of the like of Ryan Ottens, who's fighting his way through, these guys, Nathan Crook, Joe Newman, Matt Hoyland, Jamie Reeves, they know that they're fighting these guys in this train all the way to the end. So they've got to be smart about the moves. They can't really be too brash, too brave with some of their moves, because otherwise they could see themselves spinning around and falling a long way down the order, and there's no real reverse grid to try and help them survive that, as we might see. Bit of a move here from Joe Newman again up towards, going to have the outside line towards the hairpin inside line from Nathan Crook, defending it nicely at the moment in that green machine, and Joe Newman just getting behind once again.
This is what I'm a little bit concerned about with Nathan, because Nathan's got a nice one. It's frustrating at the moment, the other drivers, but once again, we'd mentioned they do not have to lift. Nathan does not have to lift off and let you pass. It's not a blue flag situation just because you're not in a different class. Yeah, you're a different class, of course, of our racing, but you are in the same class of cars, and this is creeping in. The reason why Joe's getting upset is because he has Matt up his tailpipe, and I think that's more what Joe's concerned about, and he's thinking Nathan Crook's a little bit slower, but Nathan isn't so much, and Nathan's just fighting. Nathan's fighting for this, but as I said, I'm concerned because if I was a race engineer, I'd like Nathan, let him go. Let him go here, Nathan. Tuck him behind the Casio, right? And there you go. So that's fine to Nathan because he's still leading the class. And how much time has he dropped to Stephen? Nothing really. 1.5 still separates them. So he hasn't lost anything at all. Still leading the Evo class. But now more than anything, he's got Matt. And Matt wants to repeat the same process. And I don't even know why there that Nathan's threw the dummy in on Joe. And, well, you don't know what goes through a driver's mind, isn't it? Because drivers do not... No driver that I am really aware of likes to yield the position to anybody. That's just not driver's mentality.
No, and it just shows how... was that close behind? Yeah, Thomas P may be looking for a move on Jamie Reeves here, and careful between Matt Hoyland and Nathan Crook here. You can see them going side by side as they now run their way through Dunlop as the sun.
Oh, there it is.
pierces
Yeah, I
through.
knew that was going to
The
come in.
windscreen,
Bang!
wide.
Nathan's
Oh,
lifted.
Nathan.
No, I think that's a
was it
lift.
the
Either
sun,
that or he went
maybe?
wide. Now, I would allow Thomas through because Thomas is charging like a madman a million miles an hour. It's best right now for Nathan to sit back behind Thomas. Sit back behind Thomas, use that pace. It's a long way. It's a long way to go, of course, because we're just approaching the halfway through of this race. And at least you know for a fact there, if you are the likes of Nathan, you're going to be kind of safe because you have a little bit of time to react if these two come together up the road there, and that's Maddie and Joe and the likes of that. So play it safe, play it strong, play the long game, my friend, because once again, you are leading your class. And hey, a race win is a lot of points at the moment. And look at that, somebody's run off the road. Just as I'd mentioned. And that's Joe. That's Joe. So this is the very, very reason as to why you'd probably be more clever to stay back at the moment and avoid any of these possible situations. I don't know if Joe came together with anybody, but let's have a look at the replay. No, this is a self-incident for sure, isn't it? It's way too far back. He's locked the rear and he's going to go around. And luckily, you're not involved in an incident there. Now, I'm wondering if you do roll back that a little bit, what would happen? He's actually gone straight back to the pit road too. What would happen if you were the likes of Nathan that was right next to him and then that happened? Nathan could have been out of that race. He could have been colliding with him. I mean, I'm just thinking strategy all the time, my friend. I'm not thinking like a racing driver.
Well, I'm sure they're thinking strategy at some point in the race, but yeah, they're probably not. They're probably not thinking about it all the time. He's very close, isn't he, to the back of Nathan Crook, and yeah, it might be beneficial to let him through, but unless he's really, really looking like he's going to push you off the track somewhere, there's no real point losing the time and maybe just sitting in the dirty air for a little longer. So we'll see.
Oh, but
yeah,
you might be right actually. 'Cause
out.
look at that. That time's tumbling down at the moment. Stephen's 1.3. I think that's probably what more Nathan's also thinking about. His closest competitor is Stevie, and that's what you can see. That's in the P13 position, which is only just a little bit far back. So he had that hovering almost close to 2. Now it's 1.3. So yeah, probably for Nathan, you want to make sure that you maintain that gap there. That's for the Evo class that we're talking about. We don't have to worry too much about the Pro class because the South African duo are still leading 1 and 2, 1 second apart from them each other, and then 6 seconds down the road to the BMW driver of the 172. So clearly they're on to win this one, but can't afford to make mistakes. We've seen both of those drivers actually throughout the season before. One of them makes a mistake. So maybe that's the reason why they backed off at the moment and allowed each other enough space so if one falls off the track, at least you're not going to play. Here we go. Thomas wants this one now. He's getting a little bit bored and frustrated with the Evo class driver up the road. Can't quite get it done there.
He can't, can he? In towards the Catholic Triangle they will go, and yeah, Nathan Crook will have that one very much sewn up as they continue on, but he's lost another second off the back of Jamie Rees on the last lap. He has got a nicer, comfortable gap. I think it was a little bit misleading there on the timing tower. He is a good 7 seconds clear of Stephen Donnelly at the moment. It's just a little bit misleading because that is the gap between Stephen Donnelly and the man in P12, which is
That's
James
right,
Rankin.
yeah.
But he's got a nice gap, 7 seconds or so it isn't too immediate, the risk, but back there Javier Talavera isn't too far back, and then it is a little further back to Sarah Codesta, about 10 seconds or so from Talavera back to Sarah Codesta. So yeah, Nathan Crook got to be thinking about the long game here, but we are over halfway through, so we're now into the sprint phase of the race, you could say, where you've got to start to be thinking about making those moves. Ryan Otten's trying to get a move on, of course. He was right at the back at turn 1. He's recovered so far to P15, and I mean, P12 is within reach just in the next couple of laps here, and then we can see if you can try and get up towards the top 10, particularly in class, because I think 10th in class at the moment is Thomas Pugh, and 11th is James Rankin. So he's on the fringes of the top 10, and he is recovering well after that lap 1 collision, but we will just have to see over the next 28 laps, you think about 14 laps or so, how well he can recover, and he's got to get through these likes of Paul Robson and Stephen Donnelly pretty sharpish as they now run to the hairpin.
I think he called it perfectly. If you look at him 11 positions down at the moment there, Ryan Ottens, but he is not giving up. But I still feel sad. I mean, for Joe Glass, of course, Joe Newman, Piers Berry, and Yanis being out so early. I know he got that damage, unfortunately, the second time. that he had that car that was on the racing line, and he had to smack into it. But I still think it's too early. Because if you're going to look at this Ryan right now, who had that early incident, he is climbing his way back. And if he gets himself into that nice top 10 position, that's going to be something that gives an example off to those other drivers and say, you see, you just give up. What are you planning on doing with your time anyway? We're planning on spending an hour, right, broadcasting this, are we not? As he sends one up the inside.
And Ottens, that was a very brave move,
yes.
isn't it? Yeah, and he's got it done into the final chicane. And he's now up into P14, setting his sights on Stephen Donnelly.
But we spent an hour anyway, right? So it's practice. Why not just continue to drive around the track for an hour? It's still practice. You're still committed. You've told your wife or your girlfriend or anybody, your parents, hey, I'm spending an hour on a racing rig. So what are you going to do for an hour? Just chill? I mean, go do some other practice or some of that? You can't practice in racing conditions like this unless you have racing cars on the track, because iRacing has its model, right, where it lays down rubber, it lays down, the conditions, the track changes, everything. Like, you can't just set this up as a scenario and then just race it as a practice session. You cannot. This is full racing conditions. So get out there and just drive it and see where you come at the end of the day. It doesn't really matter. Still, you're committing to it. And I think a little bit of practice makes all the difference. You won't see, well, Max Verstappen and stuff like that giving up. Just crashes somebody into somebody, but no. And spending time on the racing rig again. Unfortunately, a few more little incidents from drivers. But for now, as we are going into the deepening part of this race, we still have a bunch of little packs forming here at the moment there, Darragh.
We do. There are a few groups that will be kind of following along. I mean, you can see on the timing tower where it gets to yellow, of course, the gap's within a second. I mean, further back in the order, Danny Weir is not too far ahead of Gary Mitchell and Gareth Newton as well. They're kind of in a bit of a battle on their own. And yeah, I mean, this battle that we've been looking at, James Rankin all the way down to Javier Talavera, we're highlighting it now. It's a nice close train, as is a bit of a train from Alex Fretwell down to Jamie Rees. The likes of Thomas Pugh and Nathan Rook have just flaked off a little bit from the train after they kept battling. But, we've got less battles again. It's the same place for Ryan Ottens, isn't it? Exactly the same move. P15 to P14 to P13 in 2 laps, exactly the same place, and it is working very nicely for him. James Rankin is going to have seen that, I'm sure, that Ryan Ottens has made the same move there twice. And if he's still ahead at the same point next lap, he's got to be thinking that Ryan Ottens is going to be looking for exactly the same move. So he's got to be aware of that one. But that running towards turn 1 and turn 2, and Ryan Ottens, definitely a man lurking around, trying to now take P11 in his class, P12 overall, after being all the way at the back in turn 1.
Ryan is a man on a mission, and you got to give it to him. Look at the concentration on his face. You can't see it in the helmet, but Ryan wants it, even if that's sunset. He is battling his way back up. He dropped so many places. He's only 9 down at the moment. Next up on his hit list, of course, is James. He's been making some superb overtakes. It is just amazing to see a driver that was started in, P4, now climbing his way back up through. Dedication is what it's all about, and that's exactly what he is representing. He's not giving up, and he, as I said, next up on his hit list is Mr. James Rankin. But have a look at the precision of this driving. Look at the way he just steers into that corner a little bit more steering there, and now he's got the exit speed on James. This is going to be a great, fantastic fight here.
Yeah, and even if he doesn't get through down here at Spoon, I'm sure, like we said, he'll go for the move down, always looking for it in Spoon. And just like we saw earlier, feigning a move to the inside can just scare you.
Oh, and even Stephen gets through.
Yeah, Stephen really being opportunistic there. He's going to find his way up the inside of James as well. So, he's picked off the move where he saw a little gap, and he has absolutely gone for it and got the move regardless. It's the second time that we've seen that, though, isn't it? Down into Spoon, that little feint to the inside has worked for a driver in just scaring the other driver off the road. They're worried about hitting them if they try and send it up the inside, and in doing so, just go off the road.
Oh, we're going to pack battle here at the moment. This is going to turn maybe a little nasty through the Casio. Oh, I'm excited for this one, my friend. This is getting really spicy, dicey. Also got to keep an eye on the battle that's brewing up there behind Jamie there, Matt Hoyland. That's all spicing up, and I do apologise. I'm getting a ton of messages at the moment because my air conditioner is Oh, Joe's gone in the pit road, so that is an interesting situation. And these camera angles are horrible here at the moment. I do apologise, but that's a pit stop, his second pit stop at the moment. So let's see whether or not everybody else may have to do it. You kind of predicted that they don't, but we still have 22 minutes left of this race.
Yeah, still a long way to go. I think we've got about 11 laps or so for quite a lot of these guys. Front guys, Luke Tracy and Tristan Darragh lapping at a 158. I've hit 159.8 and 159.9 on the last time around. They're the only drivers sub 2 minutes. The only other driver who was being consistently sub 2 minutes in the same period was Yanis Aubert, but we have lost him. It would have been interesting just to see how far up he could have got. I mean, E5 could have been on the card.
Nathan's had an accident.
Oh,
and Graham
Crook.
Oh dear.
Up towards the hairpin, through the king.
He's lost it
Is it
himself,
losing
I
it
think.
on the braking?
Yep.
A little bit too deep, yeah.
Oh,
Good
does he stay
avoidance
there?
for
But
the
does he want to
guy
come around the
behind,
corner? I think. Ooh, hug up on the inside apron. No. Oh, he was lucky to get away with that one.
Yeah,
Sorry to
but,
cut you off there, my friend.
no, it's alright. They've made their way through, those guys. I think very close to much bigger contact there. But yeah, very, very unfortunate for Nathan Crook, who is now behind Stephen Donnelly. But he's not far behind. He's right in that battle as he is now, Nathan Crook is now in that battle that we were talking about from 12th all the way down to about 15th, 16th or so. But we are looking now at Matt Hoyland trying to get through on Alex Fretwell. Matt Hoyland got caught up behind Nathan Crook.
I'm going to go up to this battle. Sorry.
a couple of
no, I have
laps.
to stick to that one. I should stick to one or the other, but here we go. This is going to be interesting. Can Matty get it done? No, he sends a dummy into turn one. Not quite there. Now, the S's. No overtaking it around here, my friend. Well, you could try. Didn't we see Senna and Prost and stuff like that do it back in the Formula 1 days? But not quite sure. This goes a little bit quicker than these.
We'll run up now through towards Dunlop, and it will be Matt Hoyland still in behind Alex Fretwell, trailing his way as we make our way around once again. Here comes John Ludbrook on Matthew Jones. I think that. Oh no, was that John Ludbrook?
No,
I think going slowly. Yeah, into
he's
the pit
got
lane,
pit
John
road.
Ludbrook. I think that was the teammate of Nathan Crook. That's why I got a little bit confused there.
Here's
Alex
Alex.
Conrad's now looking for the move on James Bostock towards the outside. It'll be down in towards turn one, but the boss man will just about fend off Alex Conrad. I nearly said the Dutchman there, but he's, according to that, Dutch, Belgian and Luxembourgish. So the full plethora of Benelux countries there from Alex, but he can't quite find his way through up into the top 20 overall just yet, of course. This is the battle for, what's that, P5 in Evo class, so big points
Yes,
on offer here for the winner of this little battle.
Yeah, so James had an off-track moment before, which I could probably go back and show you. Not that James wants us to show it, but the boss man, that's probably the reason why Alex is up on his tailpipe currently at the moment. It just shows back on lap 18 that James now, of course we're not only showing lap times, but James had a moment. Let's have a look. This is the reason why James is probably currently in that clutches at the moment of Alex. And I don't know, look at the braking into that. That's going to be, yep, that's a lock up of the brake. Into the Degner, right? Just underneath the bridge. Classic place. A lot of people will lose it. And trust me, myself, if I was doing it, I would have lost it. But here we go. Back up to the live action. And this is a battle for P4.
Yeah, Christophe Demai to the inside. It's going to get a little bit tasty down there, but Paul Collishaw fends him off this time around as Christophe Demai really now looking to try and make the move if he possibly can. Remember, Christophe Demai, he's still fighting around for a good championship position along with Paul Collishaw, with Demai in 4th and Collishaw in 8th, of course. Tristan Dinnebrega picking up big points, particularly on the likes of Henry Nackery and Thomas Pugh in this race. So he's looking to finish in the top 5 and go to Mugello with a good championship position. But Christophe Demai, another driver who will be looking to benefit from Yanis Aubert not being able to finish this race. So lots to keep an eye on as we now look back at Jamie Rees on the back of Matt Hoyland and Alex Fretwell up through Dunlop, and the man in the Mercedes is currently lurking. Matt Hoyland's dropped a little bit off the back of Alex Fretwell, and he really might start to come under a bit of pressure here from the South African driver.
Yes, exactly. Jamie Rez has been on, Ryan's been on fire. Jamie, he's not too bad at the moment. He's actually up 8 positions as well. Matt's up 10, so Matt's also been doing a good job. And they're taking opportunities, of course, with the likes of some of those top guns out there, isn't it, that we mentioned there. Joe Glass, Joe Newman, Pierce Berry there, Yanis, of course, are all out of this one. Scotty as well, all have elected to basically park it, which as I said, I really don't agree with, because, you know, there's awards for also completing a certain amount of races and stuff like that, isn't it? You get some fancy stuff. Back up to this one. Still, we'll see if Christopher DeMay can do anything about Paul. Paul's been a solid race at the moment here. You got to remember, we haven't seen too much of him because it's been solidly holding in that P4 position there. And we know that our top two have just been running away with this one, almost 10 seconds and change down the road there, which is unfortunate because it would have been really interesting, isn't it, to see Yanis battling with them. But it is what it is. Once they're away, they're away. It's so opportune. Turn 1, what do you reckon? That's going to be too late.
Yeah, you really have to be almost fully alongside, if not most of the way ahead, to really make a move in turn 1, especially if it's around the outside.
Oh, but if you run wide.
Oh, but that's very
but if you run wide.
Paul. Yeah, let's see around the outside at turn 2.
Oh, you're going to go through here.
They
did it.
He has done it, but it's not done yet, of course, because the inside line gives itself back to Paul, but he's pushed him wide. Christophe Demay off the track, and Paul Colashaw kept the position, but I think he's given it back. Yes, he has, very nicely. Nice sportsmanship there from Paul Colashaw. Realised his error and gave the position back to Christophe Demay. Lovely to see those two giving such respect to each other, but Paul's now got to be careful because Ewan Stitchery isn't far behind either now. As we'll look back for Matt Hoyland, who is right on the back of Alex Brackwell, down in towards the Degners 1 and 2, but it's impossible to make a move through there unless you're an absolute madman, which of course Matt Hoyland is not. But up towards the hairpin, there is a chance if you get a good run out of Degner 2 down under the bridge. Oh, the king, is he close enough? I don't think he is, and he will just stick him behind for now.
Well, Matt's in a difficult place, isn't he? Because he feels I have to get past Alex, put pressure on Alex, because he's got Jamie Rez, who's very, very, very quickly covering in the background there. So all these drivers have gained 8 positions each. They're doing good. They've got some good positions. They're all in the top 10. And they want to fight. They want to battle. They want to have some fun. But they also do not want to lose crucial points, remember. Not only in their own championship, but also in their team championship. So this is going to be a fun one to go. 15 minutes and change for the rest of this race. Top 2. I may suspect soon, towards the end of the race, they might go for it. We've heard from Bahor, haven't we, from Luca and Trishan, that they don't mind battling towards the end of a race as teammates. So I expect perhaps to see something like that, but at the moment, at least those guys. Rain check on your battle, please, if you are listening to the broadcast. Wait until the last 5 or so minutes, and then you can continue that one, because at the moment we have action currently back in piece 7, 8, 9.
We do, but I don't really have action with this all the way to the end, frankly, because these guys really do look very similar on pace. Lap time is not too much between them. If anything, Jamie Reed's 3/10 quicker than Alex Fretwell, so they're getting closer and closer with every passing lap down into the opening corners. Jamie Reed's still sitting in behind, biding his time, waiting to try and make the move. You can see that that Hoyland on the back. At least he knows exactly who he's behind as they run their way up their hill. Yeah. It'd be impressive if he got it wrong, to be fair. He'd be staring at it for quite a long time. But then there's Alex Fretwell not too far in front as they now come through Dunlop. The sun still setting through this corner. But it's not as piercing as it once was. So it's a little bit nicer to run through Dunlop. I think we saw a couple of victims maybe of the sun through there. But they'll come into the Degners still in tow. And you mentioned about the fact that Lucchese and Darragh might be fighting each other at the end. It's possible that they might, but they've also got to think. They've been given a great opportunity in the championship on a plate here by Yanis Aubert not finishing. So I don't know whether they'll just kind of consolidate it together, not risk having a big incident, and bring it home 1 and 2. That'll be something to think about. We'll have to see if Tristan just goes for it either way. But I'm sure Luke will be begging him to just stay in behind.
Oh, look at the mistake that Jamie came out of the corner there, dropped him a little pace. But you're right. But then again, they have done it. I mean, I know that you joined us late last season. They weren't at it. They were at it tooth and nail a little bit sometimes. So I would expect a little bit of beef between teammates because they want to know who's the quickest between them, because I can't really judge it this season, really. I think they're both as equal on pace. Both have made mistakes. Both have got superior performance. They're always up at the timesheets generally when it comes to qualifying. So I say, as a team boss, let them race because at least in this championship, you're not talking about Toto Wolff slamming some boys' headphones down there and losing multi-millions of dollars. In this one, it's just they're still going to get themselves trophies and things like that, right? They're still going to get themselves some goodies at the end of the season because they're right up there. Whether they want the team championship and stuff like that. But, it's entertainment, and I'm sure they want it. And here we go. This is entertainment at the moment. Matt wants it on the outside. It's turn 1. Over to you.
And he has got it done just about, but it's Fretwell back up the inside. He's going to get a better run, I think, on the exit. Has Matt Hoyland got enough? He's going to have an inside line for turn 2. It's going to be the outside line again, but will he be able to find it? Oh, no! I don't know if there was contact, whether he just lost it, but he's facing the barrier. He's going to have to reverse it out of that gravel trap. And how far will he drop? Where's Ryan Ottens? There's Ryan Ottens coming through in the Mercedes. He'll come out just behind him.
And then everybody else
Matt
coming
Hoyland
through.
now down in
Stevens coming
P11.
through.
Yeah, he's very slow to get back going again, though. I don't know why he was so slow to get back on the racing line. He had time there, but he's dropping further and further back.
He's going to drop another one to Jamel, I think. You know what? That's interesting. That is it. That is interesting. As James the Bossman's gone back into pit road, we may be able to see another pit road, another round of pit stops if people haven't put enough gasoline in. Here's our racing leaders. So they're going 2 for Stern. We'll go back more to Javier, who's now caught the back of that one. That is interesting. I'm sad that the chat is so quiet here this evening because I do really love engaging with the chat to find out their thoughts and situations on that one. Because I think that was a fair, good racing incident on that one. I don't think anybody really gambled too much. Because I was speaking about Matt before, and I thought how Matt has, really matured a lot this season as a better driver, and he didn't really seize opportunities that you put your nose in, and James would say you get cut off. But for now, we have to go back to this one because here's Jamie Rez, and he's thinking about Alex Fretwell. That was that battle course. Maybe we get a chance to look at that replay in a second and just see how the exit will come out of the Casio. If it could possibly get an opportunity, we'll wait for this one for turn 1. If we don't get him by turn 1, I think we'll have to wait for the S's and give us a chance for a replay. No, he's going to go for this one. Not too far up back.
It's very close, though, on the run down into turn 1, but it's just enough for Jamie Reeves. But he really does look quick at the moment, the South African.
Oh, yes.
Trying to pick off P7 from Alex Fretwell. Of course, Ryan Ottens is now inside the top 10. 8 seconds does look like quite a big gap, though, onto the back of Thomas Pugh. Think that might be just out of reach for Ryan Ottens, but P10 either way, realistically starting from the back, it would be a fantastic result at the moment, but never count anything out. Of course, we've seen that spin from Matt Hoyland. We could see something similar from anybody else in this top 10, but the battles really lie now here with Fretwell, Reese and Thomas Pugh joining the party. And then maybe at the front with Lucchese and Tristan Dennebrega, but being teammates, you think that they're less likely to fight with such a comfortable position and only 10 minutes to go. I think we're going to have 5 more laps, or in fact we will have.
Oh, that's big slam from Javier into Paul. Is it Paul? Oh, what has gone on? Oh no. I just switched to that camera, and that looked like beef, my friend. Or yeah.
No, it's just he's touched the grass and lost the rear end.
Right.
He's touched the grass and lost the rear end. There we go. And I think Javier has absolutely no.
And
way
now
to
Matty's
go,
crashed.
so.
I think this might have been an outside representative of what's happened before as well, because no, he's lost on his own. Unless he's lost it on the Dunlop, isn't it? Sorry, the Spoon. And then somebody else has lost it as well too, Javier. No, this is when Javier's gone deep as well too. Spoon's catching everybody off guard right now, big time. Interesting. Yeah. Here we go, but
As we now see Talavera being overtaken here by Matt Hoyland. These two have been in the wars, haven't they, over the last minute or so? And Matt Hoyland is now in front.
And here we go. So it ain't over yet, my friend. This is not over yet. We still have another 8 minutes of racing to go, and just in the last minute and change, you've just saw a ton of action. So where there's 2 or 3 cars together, do not look away from your screens. Screens, that's right, plural. Or your phone, or whatever you have.
Yeah, I mean, these three are really tightening up now, aren't they, as they run up the hill once again. And I think even on the back of Jamie Reeves, Thomas Pugh, he's looking dangerous. He's looking like he might even be able to pull off a bit of a surprise hit towards the end of the race. Another person to shout out really that we haven't really noticed is John Breitenbach up in P3. He's driven a very, very nice race. I think he started in P6 around there, or in fact, yes, he was in P6, and then picked his way through off the start, then got through on Paul Colashaw around the pit stop phase, and has just driven off into the distance. He's not quite had the pace of the two RDSA drivers in front of him, but he's still been very consistent, and he's looking, unless he makes a big mistake in the last few laps here, like he's going to pick up a podium. But there is going to be 4 laps to go after this one, and the chances are counting down for Jamie Rees here. A bit wide though from Alex Fretwell through Spoon Curve, and a good exit here might give Jamie Rees the sniff that he's been looking for. He's gaining. It's a quarter of a second that he is behind. He's still gaining. Make that a fifth of a second as they keep going towards 130R. Is he going to be close enough anywhere near the Casio Triangle to make the move, taking a very nice wide line into 130R? Can he send it late here? I don't think he's close enough, and no, he's going to have to sit in behind for now. But all the while, Thomas Pugh is still looking around, isn't he?
Switch back, of course. Yeah, of course, Thomas is going to be capitalising on their mistakes if they make any, because Thomas had been on a man on a mission as well, too. He's gained 4. But James gained 9, remember, and Alex, and you mentioned it too, didn't you? That the man in P3 has done a solid job. Because you want to be, I always think sometimes if you're a driver or you don't put the camera on you as a broadcaster, you're doing a solid job, especially if you're up at the top of the timesheets. That's just good. You're driving your own race. You're getting in there. You're capitalising on those mistakes early, and also you're utilising those pit stop strategies that he did quite well. I will take a P3. He will probably should hopefully chat to us and let us know that, hey, I'm happy with that P3. I'm take that any day of the week, because if he had a P3 every single race, my friend, I guarantee that man's probably get up top of the point standings. Every race, remember, you don't have to win a race to win a championship.
Oh, exactly. There are a couple of championships that I do commentary on regularly as we get through on a lap to go here up towards the hairpin, where I think we're 9 races into the championship in one particular championship, and the top 2, neither of them have won a race yet, but between them they've picked up something like 10 podiums. So it's the consistency that's going to get you to the top, and it is what is helping the likes of Lucchese to try and keep tabs with Yannis Hubert. Christophe Demise, another very good example of that. I think he's won a couple of rounds overall when there's been 2 races in an evening, even when not winning either race, just by picking up enough points in both races. So yeah, it's incredibly true to say that consistency, just picking up the results where you can, even if it's a 4th or a 5th, better than crashing out. So, just picking up where you can, it builds your championship challenge, and that is exactly what we've seen from some of these guys all the way through this season. But Jamie Rees isn't thinking about that. No. He's thinking about getting through. He's going to try the outside line here. He's got a little bit of a nose alongside, but he can't really try the switchback out of the Casio Triangle, and if anything, it gives Thomas Pugh a bit of a sniff, but he's far too far back now to make the move down towards turn 1. We've got 3 laps to go now as we run down towards turn 1 once again. Jamie Rees gaining, but he's not quite gaining enough to make the move into turn 1 again. And it is going to start to get to be a little bit of a, not panic situation for Jamie Rees, but to a situation where he really is going to have to try and force the issue.
He's going to be, he's stuck in the middle. It's like that song, I'm stuck in the middle with you, because he's also thinking about the car behind. It's so hard to mirror drive and focus on your own racing line, because you're trying to attack the car up the road there. And as a spotter, I wouldn't even let him know. I wouldn't even let him know that Thomas is on his tailpipe. I would let Jamie just go, get on with it, get off it, do your own thing, challenge. But don't do anything silly, my friend. You're guaranteed yourself a nice P8 place here at the moment. Is it worth damaging your car or sending you both around for a potential P7? Or 0 points, not 0, but of course you're gonna lose it out a ton. Maybe 3, 4, 5 places right now if you bet it, because there's 3 minutes and change a couple of laps. Be smart and seize an opportunity, because now we've the other car in the background. It's not into play, of course. That's actually a back marker that's just let them by, saying I'm not going to be a part of that, which is clever. And thank you very much for those drivers doing that in this league, because you don't want to fight that fight. Fight that fight another day. But this is interesting as to who wants to do here. You know that at the moment he's hungry. Jamie wants this. Alex is going to fight for dear life. And Thomas in the background, he's saying, all right, make a mistake. Please, just give me something. Just give me an excuse to get by both of you.
No, and it's just running through people's minds now. I mean, it's just getting to a little bit of a desperation level now. If you're Jamie Rees trying to get through on Alex Fretwell, looking for the move but not being able to go for it this time around into the Casio triangle. There are now 2 laps to go. Opportunities really now running out, but he's as close as he's ever been as they cross the line. He's definitely going to have to go for the move down into turn 1 now. He's going to be forced to the outside line. It's a bit of a waiting game just to see how far alongside he can get before they get to the first corner. Can he try and tiptoe his way around the outside, just dance his way, just ballet around the outside? It's not going to be pretty enough to make the move stick, but he's got to be careful not to let Thomas Pugh through either. But I think they're still going to be in the same order they were, and they're only going to have one more visit to turn 1 now.
I'm just wondering if once again, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? But more importantly, there's also another little battle brewing behind there, because you got to remember that Nathan wants to take that he wants to take that position away from Stephen for the Evo class. Remember Nathan making a mistake. Here we go. I think we'll switch over to this one for a second, because there's 2 fantastic battles brewing. But remember, this is a battle for P1 in their class. That's P1. The other battle you're seeing is for 8th and 9th and 7th. So we'll try to keep an eye on this one. But at the fact that Nathan's like, I had this one. I had it. I had a little off-track moment, and I want it back, and I want it back right now. And I don't think we have time, because both of the RDSA esports team is way up the road, 15 seconds and change. They're going to be, you let me know at the moment where they're going to be coming around to another lap, and there's contact as well too as we go on to Spoon.
That could have been much worse. That could have been Nathan Crook just spinning around Stephen Donnelly down into that hairpin. I really thought Stephen Donnelly was going to be facing the wrong way there, but just about gets his way through. And again, chances running out for Nathan Crook. He'll be really hoping to get through. He was in the lead of Evo class for so long tonight, but that mistake
coming off track somewhere. Hang on. Have we had Stitchberry come off here?
Up towards Spin, we've seen a few instances here. Yeah,
and he was,
we've seen it a few times already, haven't we?
Yeah. I thought he was right up there. Matt Hyland's come off as well too. A few people have actually come off. Oh dear.
Alex Fretwell.
Alex is gone. Yep, Alex has gone off. Oh, this is the last place you ever want to lose it. You're talking about 30-something seconds left of this race at the moment. You've done so much work to get where you have to be, and in the dying stages of this race, you're about to lose crucial points, gentlemen.
Was there contact there? Because it's a weird place to spin it out of that final chicane. Was he maybe given a little bit of a love tap on the back there? I'm not trying to cause aspersions, of course, but I think we might have just to see a replay, just to see what happened there, if we can. What happened to Alex Fretwell? Because I don't. There may have been contact there with Jamie Rees.
Apparently, yeah. Yes,
but
there is contact.
Yes, there was. There.
Oh,
and it's let Thomas Pugh through. It's let Thomas Pugh through ahead of Jamie Rees. But either way, we've ticked past 1 hour. We're on the final lap, of course, and these 2 at the front, Luke Luchese and Tristan de Nobrega, they have been absolutely stellar tonight. They were 1 and 2 in qualifying. They have been 1 and 2 every single lap for this entire 1 hour long race. They have been in a class of their own this evening. They managed to steer clear of the incident in turn 1.
I'm going to get back to them in a second before they cross the line, because I want to see if there's a late send here from Nathan, which I wouldn't suggest, but Nathan's going to go for something. Keep an eye on where our race leaders are. We'll have to switch around. We're going to have to go around in a second. Sorry, gentlemen, we'll go back on that one if you get it done through Spoon. Here we are. They're actually going to slow down at the moment. I think Luke's going to allow Trishan to almost get a photo finish between them, and why not? They've done a brilliant job.
Yeah, they coordinate their finish across the line, and it will be Luke Luchese who wins here in ESR for round 6 and keeping his championship ambitions very much alive, cutting that gap to just 20 points in the championship to Yanis Albert with 3 rounds remaining. It'll be John Brayton back in a very portable 3rd position, and Christophe Demay in 4th, bringing up another very good consistent result. Paul Colishaw again, another good result for him in P5. Might see him move up a little ways in the championship, with Ewan Stitchbury coming home in P6. Thomas Pugh will be 7th after sneaking through on that penultimate lap in the final corner, with Ryan Ottens recovering all the way to 8th place after being last at turn 1. It'll be Jamie Rees in P9 ahead of Alex Fretwell, who he actually might let through. No, he doesn't quite let through there. But they were close enough as they crossed the line. It'll be Nathan Crook coming into the pit lane, weirdly enough. But
he's got a penalty at the end.
In P12. Either way, Paul Robson is going to finish in 13th, and then it'll be Matt Hoyland who's also coming to the pit lane, and Hussein Saraka Dessler who will finish in P50. We can see him now coming through the final couple of corners. But overall, 23 drivers ended up on the lead lap. I think we're going to be waiting for the boss man, James Bostock, to be last across the line. But it really was a very accomplished display, wasn't it, from the two RDSA drivers of Luke Lucchese and Tristan de Nobrega.
Dominating form. A dominating form once it all went pear-shaped at the start, wasn't it? Because what happened was at the very, very start, and we know that, who was it again? Who still finished very, very strong, wasn't it? If you go back on to that one. It was, we're going to go through my head here at the moment. Ryan, wasn't it? Ryan, that ended up finishing, did he finish in P8 at the end of the day? Ryan did. After starting in P3, or sorry, P4. And then, of course, we lost our championship leader as well, of Yanis, all the way back early after he got into some strife after that first turn incident, and then he got some strife after boxing early, and then a little later on. But I'm saying, Yanis, you quit too early. You quit too early for me. You could have just charged your way back up there, just as the likes of Ryan did. So that's a question to me that if I had to be talking to him at the end of the championship and say you lost by 2 points, I'm going to bring back this race. I'm going to bring back this race. As simple as that. But anyway, what we're going to bring for you currently at the moment is the results.
And here they are then. It was a great win from Luke Lucchese. I need to say great win from Luke Lucchese and Tristan de Nobrega, because they effectively won it together, didn't they, really? Going along right next to each other, the two teammates doing themselves wonders in the drivers and the team's championship. John Breitenbach in third, Christophe Demay in fourth, with Paul Colashaw and Ewan Stitchbury in fifth and sixth. Thomas Pugh, Ryan Ottens, Jamie Rees and Alex Fretwell round out the top 10, with Stephen Donnelly winning in the Evo class. Paul Robson in 12th, Hussein Sarak came home 13th, Joe Spara 14th, and Nathan Crook in the end P3 in class. Not exactly what he would have wanted, but still decent enough points for him. Matthew Jones and Alex Conrads in 16th and 17th place, with Matt Hoyland, Gareth Newton and Gary Mitchell rounding out the top 20. Daniel Nans, Javier Talavera and James Bostock were the only other drivers on the lead lap, with Danny Weir, Rob McKee, Chris Keenan and John Ludbrook being inside the top 27. James Rankin, Russell Jakes, Graham Matthew ran out the top 30, with Jamal Gandor. James Paolo, a debutant Jack, that is Gandor, I think, being the last finisher, with James Paolo, Jack Wyborn, Joe Newman, Joe Glass, Piers Berry, Yanis Albert, along with Henry Nackery and Robin Aston not finishing the race. So quite a few non-finishes in the end, but a fantastic win from Luke Lucchese and Tristan de Nobrega. And I see they're both waiting for an interview now. I might drag them both in at the same time, being
bring them both in.
Teammates.
The South African duo need to be delivered together at the moment. As you can start those interviews, and we'll go through the restart. And go ahead, please.
We will unmute ourselves in the Discord chat. So
yes, of course. I completely forgot about that. Let's go ahead.
Good evening, Luke and Tristan. Get you both in. One and two.
1 second, sorry.
Perfect evening for you guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
No, I think it was a good race. I think a 1-2 here. I mean, we were worried about the Lamborghinis here because the Audi Charles, it's rear tires. But we worked together, managed the tires, and got the 1-2 first of the season. So let's try and continue the momentum.
Yeah, obviously very chuffed with that, and it's been a tough season for myself. 2 DNFs in the first 4 rounds. So this is the first endurance race of the season that I've actually finished. So super chuffed with the result, and good points for the team, and obviously individually as well, good points. Just watching the replay here, I see Yanis and Ryan had a bit of an incident there in turn 1, which never wish ill on your rivals, but that obviously helps us a lot. But I'm sure you'll fight back in the next few rounds. But overall good and lots of fun.
I actually had a bit of a moment with about 22 laps to go. My headset was coming up saying battery low, and it just kept on saying it. And I said to Tristan, any minute now my headset's going to die.
This is why
luckily
you
it
do not
lasted to the end
use
of the race.
wireless headsets, gentlemen. That's why I always have a cable on my headset, because I don't want anything happening like that. But I guess you're probably on a racing rig, right? So it's a little not that easy to have
Yeah,
cable.
it's a little bit difficult. I'm shouting around the house to get somebody to come bring a cable so I can plug it in, and everyone's asleep. So I
Well,
didn't
just
get my
like real
cable.
racing, in real racing, my friend, you might have communication downfall with the pit crew, so but you'd still be able to perform your duties, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Look, luckily I had Tristan behind him, so he was aware of my problem. Because my pace slowed quite a bit when I was sort of looking around for cables and trying to make phone calls
Whilst driving at
Yeah.
200 miles an hour. Lovely, all right.
To keep checking in with him, I kept going, Luke, you still here? Luke, you still here?
Hey,
Just to check that we still had comms.
My last question to you, gentlemen, before I pass it back over to Darragh, is that I was talking about last season, remember, you were free to go, right? You were free to battle each other, and I saw towards the end you're starting to, you had a little 1 second gap for most of the race because you controlled the race together. But I thought, is it going to be game on towards the end? Is it going to be Toto Wolff could be throwing his headphones all over the place? Is it going to be that situation where your teammates are going to come together? And Darragh's like trying to calm me down, going, no, they're not going to risk that. So, but I'm like, no, you didn't realize last season they did race each other. There was a little bit of beef because, this season I don't know who the number one driver is anymore because I think you both are pretty much even Stevens.
Yeah.
So last season I was in the position where I was leading the championship and obviously fighting for it, and Luke obviously had a few mishaps, so we agreed that he would help me get as many points as possible. This season obviously it's reverse. He's chasing Yanis and he's second in the championship. I was well down, I think in P8. So this race I was happy to sit behind him and just tail him the whole race. Even at the end when he was having his headset problems, I said, Luke, don't stress, just do your thing. I'm not going to pass you.
Come on.
It's
We want
so-
some
it's-
excitement up here, gentlemen. But
It's so difficult to pass here. You actually need to have like probably a 1.5 second pace advantage on somebody to actually.
well, yeah, you should
get a
ask
run.
the gentleman that spun out in the first, your other South African countryman. Remember that was started in P4, I
Ryan,
think.
yeah.
Who was it?
Yeah. Ryan.
Ryan
Yeah, you
Hopkins.
should ask him because he overtook about half the field to come back up into P8, my friends. So
I know he had a massive
That's a
comeback.
good result, yeah.
yeah. All right, Darragh, over to you, my friend. Sorry.
I was going to say last week, Watkins Glen. I mean, Luke, you had a fantastic race 1, and if it wasn't for damage in race 2, you were also going to be near the front. And Tristan, you won race 2, so there was definitely. I mean, you had good momentum from last week, and you've brought it through this week again. For next week, Mugello. It's a bit more of a Suzuka style track. I mean, for what we've got coming up, which is Mugello, Kota, and Bathurst. So, are you hoping you can try and carry through some more momentum there as well? The two of you, Luke first.
I've actually never driven that track, so I'll have some practice laps to put in.
Yeah, Mugello's an
I-
exciting track. So I've actually done some laps there. I think we'll be all right. Obviously, this season the Lambo is very strong, so Yanis will be there. So yeah, looking forward to another good fight, and let's just carry the points and momentum forwards. I think we'll end off strong if we can keep going the rate we're going now. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be nice to get Aiden back as well. I think he's also back for Mugello.
Oh, Aiden
So
will be
it'll
back.
be
Oh, that'd
a-
be lovely. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. We do miss
so.
Aiden.
So
He
it'll
was
be
the
a
other one
proper
one
fight
up
at the
running at
front.
the front with you gentlemen as well too. And
Yeah.
Yep. So another very quick driver. So he said he'll be back for the next one. So fingers crossed, and then yeah, we can go fighting. We'll add some excitement for you guys instead of this just
Yeah.
following the leader.
did you gentlemen get bored a little bit when you did realize that two of the top guns behind you got taken out? Really, or there was a little contact between them and the first corner, and after that
look,
it was
when-
like free
when-
running for the
yeah.
rest of you, right?
When that happened, we just said, look, let's just get our heads down. Let's try and pull a bigger gap as we can, while looking after the tires, because, on the race on Monday, we saw that the tires went off quite quickly. So you couldn't just bomb it around every single turn. You had to look after the tires, and that's what we managed to do. And we were, comfortably sort of half a second a lap quicker than the guys behind. So just steadily making the gap bigger. And then the next challenge was just, getting the pit stop right.
And what we'll do real quickly is we'll pull our third place in whilst you guys are still here, because I mean it's good. I think. Yeah, and we'll pull in
Another
John,
South African. I think
John.
it's the first in ESR, guys.
We're going to
Triple
pull
South
you
African
in
podium.
because we've still got the two, South African duo, and so yourself, Darragh, you can ask our third place man that had to follow this duo through this one.
Yeah, I mean, John, you had a good qualifying. You were P6. I mean, you were behind that incident down at turn 1, but you picked your way through, and then around that pit stop phase, you got through on pole. After you got through on pole, you knew that Luke and Tristan were ahead. Were you at all confident that you could have caught them, or are you just going to try and settle for P3?
No, I was going to settle for P3. I was hoping that maybe tyre wear or penalties will catch up to them, so I took tyres during the pit stop as well. But alas, they were probably just a little bit too fast for me today.
Did you have a little bit of you had a little lonely race, didn't you, my friend? I don't think we had to switch the camera on you too much to see the spring brakes. What is it? No. Spring, what's it called? The
Springbox.
On the side of your car, because outside of
up until the first pit stop, I had some company around me, which was quite nice. And like you mentioned, into T1, I was quite worried that I was going to get caught up in that, or that someone from behind is going to not leave enough space. But everyone was very reasonable, which I appreciate. But yeah, after the first pit stop, it was a case of don't get a penalty myself and don't do anything stupid, and kind of just maintain the gap.
Which is what you did. You're not in the same chat as well, isn't it? Yeah, the gentleman.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, I also missed the first 2 rounds, so I've got quite a bit of a points deficit. So scoring some good points today will definitely help in that regard.
And I want to go back to the start of the race.
Think now.
Sorry, you keep talking. I'm going to go back and actually look at the start of the race.
No, you carry on. You carry on, Dean.
No, you keep continue. I'm not going to show the replay of the race.
Did you like our finish at the end?
Yes. Yeah. Very much. We saw you slowing down, and we thought that you're going to try and coordinate something across the line. But yeah, very much. You had the time to. I think you were 14 seconds clear. So yeah, it was lovely across the line. But I think John, same question to you very quickly that we had to Luke and Tristan. We've got Mugello next week. How confident are you of that? Have you done much driving at Mugello?
I have never driven the track. Same for Kota after that. Same for Watkins Glen last week. So this was the only track I knew in the end tail of the year. So we'll see how it goes the rest of the tracks that are yet to come.
Oh, I'm just looking at this replay at the moment as the other 2 cars go spinning around. You just pointed that the right direction there. Oh, lucky not to get any
I have
damage.
to say, I think they let off the brakes and rolled back a bit, because if they stayed there a little bit in the way, I would have definitely had problems.
I don't know if you guys caught the net code that was happening. I mean, we were going down the straight and there was cars flying through the air, flipping past us.
No,
like myself and Tristan.
We saw one net code, but luckily this broadcast we didn't have any the blinking issues that we've had previously in the past. But no, we didn't see that at all. That must have been quite frightening.
Yeah,
I
think Joe Glass was involved in one of them, because I saw him going into 21R, and then all of a sudden I see this car flipping through the air, but it was like sort of warped. And then I see him going off. So I don't know if he had a net code with somebody, but I mean, it happened twice down the same straight. So it was very weird.
Joe Glass unfortunately did retire. So that may have been
I think he was forced to retire from what I heard in the game.
Right. Well, it's interesting to have your top 3 South Africans up here dominating this one. Well, first of all, we'll go through one by one there. Luke, any thanks to your sponsors and stuff like that?
Look, I'd just like to thank my team, thank my teammate. We always try and work together to try and, extract some more pace, out of the car. That's us. We like racing against competition, because at the end of the day, we better ourselves by doing that. So yeah, just onwards and upwards. And I'd like to give a shout out to my dad, who watches all the streams, and my mom. So thanks for watching, Dad and Mom.
But lovely, my friend. If you watch the Netflix NASCAR series, you can see that one of the drivers from iRacing had made his way into real motorsports. So perhaps we'll see you behind the wheel of a real car, one of these Audis in the future. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm on the back. I'm on the back 9.
And Tristan, my friend, P2 there following your teammate.
Yeah, like I said earlier, solid result. Happy for the team. So happy for RDSA Esports and for all our partners, including Ravenol, Sparko, Trick Simulations, Warwick Wealth. It's quite a few. So thanks to them for all the support. Obviously, we appreciate it. And we're just going to try and keep delivering results like this. because yeah, we haven't had many 1-2s, so we'll take it, and yeah, looking forward to the next one already.
And our final man, who...
Next one.
Yep, go ahead.
Well, I don't
No,
have
no.
any sponsors apart from having a job and having to pay for the stuff myself. But I'd like to thank my teammate as well, who couldn't be here today, teammate/dad. He had to work, unfortunately, so he was here in spirit cheering me on today instead of racing with us. But he'll be back next time.
You know, I'm glad that you've cleared up that it's a father-son team, because I was never sure, because I knew you guys must be related, but I was never sure how. On a couple of broadcasts on Race Room where there's a few brothers, I didn't know if it was the same thing, but I'm glad I now cleared up in my mind that it's you and your dad. So
glad I could clear it up.
Yeah.
He did send me that message, I think, earlier in the season, but I just keep... sorry about that one.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
It was actually. Last season, maybe. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much for that one. As everybody mentioned, looking forward to the next race. That it seems that many of you have not driven the track, so get some practice in. I'll show that schedule currently at the moment, so that you all can have an idea of what's happening. Because we're getting close to the bottom end of the season, my dear friends. 8th of February.
Yeah.
Yep, it's game time.
3 rounds to go then.
All right, thanks everyone.
Yeah.
All right. Keep well, guys.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for the stream.
Thanks,
You're doing an
guys.
awesome job.
But
Well, there you have
yeah,
it,
3
Darragh.
rounds to go. As we mentioned, Mugello, Kota, Bathurst, very, very, very different tracks. They couldn't be more different if they tried, really. And it is crunch time now. I think there are only 345 points, left up on offer for these guys, and they are three evenings where we've got 2 races on each evening, so no more 1 hour sunset races. We have done our sunset races for the season. It is just reverse grid evenings till the end at Mugello, Kota and Bathurst, but we will be back in 7 days' time to cover all the action around Mugello. Thanks to everyone who has tuned in. Thank you, of course, to Dean Biggles, who has been pushing all the buttons, getting all the coverage that we could get from the race this evening. But we will see you in 7 days' time for the Mugello race, round 7 of 9 in the Evolution Sim Racing Season 3. And can it be a change of leadership? It's going to be 20 points of a lead that Yanis Albert has as we go to Mugello. But will he hold it as we go towards Kota? We'll have to find out. Make sure you tune in next week. But we'll see you then in 7 days' time.